So Joyce, you've got something new for us from Mercedes-Benz.
Right, John, and that something is the replacement for the popular turbo diesel-powered 300D, which has been around for about 9 years. Now, the new models will also go by the name of 300, and there'll be 3 of the D variety. There's a sedan, a coupe, and a wagon. Like the current 300, these will also be diesel-powered. And then there will also be the 300E series. Now, that's a new one that will be gas-powered. Aside from their name and purpose, the new cars won't share much with their 300 predecessors. If you remember that in 1983, Mercedes introduced their baby Benz.
Right.
That was the 190. Well, the new 300 series uses a lot of the 190 design ideas and even some of the components. The 300's got the 190's bullet looks with that flush glass and high-mounted aerodynamic rain channels, and drag has been reduced by 30% over the current 300. And it's more efficient in other areas, too. Nearly 180 pounds lighter than before and smaller, but it has just as much interior room as the car it replaces. Now on the inside, it's going to be business as usual with that single pod for instruments and the typical big Mercedes wheel. Now, that interior may look stark, but you will be able to order options such as a power-adjustable steering column.
Really?
The rear-drive 300 suspension components come straight from the Mercedes 190 model. And they're not just trying to save money by doing that either. That suspension design is about as high-tech as a passenger cars can get. It uses struts with separate springs up front, and at the rear, a sophisticated multi-link independent unit. Now, to go with the suspension, Mercedes is going to use low-profile tires. This is a first for them, since they have usually resisted using any tire lower than a 70 series. It's also a kind of a radical move, since high-performance tires usually make for a rough ride.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, not so we hear on the Mercedes. And there's at least one more steal from the 190. Now, don't tell them I said so.
I promise.
But the 300's gas and diesel engines are basically just 190 engines with 2 more cylinders added. Now, both 6 cylinders will displace 3 liters, and both are lighter and more efficient than the engines used in the current 300s. They'll be bolted to a 4-speed automatic transmission and maybe a 5-speed manual. Now, John, as you know, the new 300s are already out in Europe, and from what we hear, they're a lot more spirited than the cars that they replace. Of course, they have managed to retain the traditional Mercedes ride quality and comfort. Now, over here, we're only going to have to wait until the fall of '85 to confirm that. And the coupe and wagon versions, well, they're not going to arrive until fall '86. When they do make it, you can expect to pay 10 to 15% more than for the current cars, which means, John, that all these improvements are going to set you back about 35 grand.
Not me, it won't, but interesting cars anyway. Thank you very much, Joyce. Well, I guess there are going to be at least some people who will have to cool their heels before they can run down to their local Mercedes merchant for that new 300. But I doubt there'll be that many of them.